Hi, welcome to In the Rough with Angie. I am interviewing my new friend Megan today. So Megan, I found actually through the algorithm on YouTube. So I had posted a video about why be sober because I'm working on following the Lord, and sometimes stress will hit and I'll need a way to minimize that stress. And I realized that I was drinking a couple glasses of wine a night just to kind of de-stress and enjoy the chores that I had to do, like cleaning the kitchen. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm in such a better mood. And then I realized, okay, if I keep doing this every night, it's going to become a problem. It's going to start becoming more glasses of wine. So I realized, okay, I need to try to figure out something to substitute the glass of wine with. And so I started looking into supplements, and you get CBD comes up, THC products come up, mushroom supplements. So I have done some things in my past with getting high that I have convictions about not getting high now. So then I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm convicted not to, get drunk. And also, if I have something else to relax, I'm convicted for it not to lead me down a bad path with that as well. So in that episode, I was kind of explaining my thought process and what I'm currently going through with that. And then, Megan, your videos came into my algorithm and I started watching your interviews. And then I started listening to a little bit of your story and a little bit of your background. And so today I wanted to interview you so we can get to know you more and the heart of what you're doing. And I'm going to start with a quote that I actually wrote down because I loved it. It was from one of your interviews with Danielle, and she said, "The problem was me and how I felt about myself." And yes. I thought that is so true in so many ways. But anyway, let's just jump right in. So you have a podcast and a YouTube channel. Your podcast is Sobriety Uncensored. Is that right? And then your YouTube is Soberstrong. So just to start out, what are 2 words you would use to describe yourself and why?
2 words to describe myself. Ooh, I don't know. That's a really good one. It's really hard right now because what we just talked about a little bit prior, the last week has been really rough. I guess I'm a very open and compassionate person.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say I'm strong. I'm strong in a lot of ways, but 2 words, I guess compassionate and open.
Yeah, I love that. And then what do you do for work? Do you work from home? What's your current situation?
My main job, I'm a real estate agent here in Idaho. It's not like my full-time job. It would be great if it was my full-time job. But I pulled back from real estate to focus on my channel.
Okay, that's awesome.
And I started doing sober coaching and really trying to do interviews and engage with my community. It's a lot of work. So
yeah.
I had a really good real estate year in 2024. And so this year we kind of just were my channel's getting traction. Let's just focus on that. And then, a lot of people say you shouldn't make money on sobriety. I didn't start my channel on sobriety. I started my channel with fitness and health.
Mm-hmm.
And I did my first video about being the drinker. And it kind of just took off. And all the comments that came flooding in, all the messages, everybody said, that video probably took 2 weeks before it did anything. And it was so overwhelming, all the support I was getting, and I was I think I found my calling in life.
That's awesome. Wow.
So, here I am.
So now you're a sober coach and you interview people on their journeys and how they quit alcohol and why they quit drinking. So let's get into your story. What age were you introduced to alcohol and why did you start drinking?
So I'm going to say my first sip was probably about 1 or 2 years old. Of beer. I just grew up, with younger parents. No fault to them, but, it's just the generation. They were young. I was a surprise. And, drinking just was a part of the environment. And then they would have parties. And I guess, the more I think about it, I like was tasting alcohol at such a younger age than I've probably mentioned on my own podcast. Like they would have birthday parties and the kids were allowed to try it and partake if they wanted. But I think the first time I was ever drunk was when I was 16. And then that was, so I had turned 16 in April, and then in June I started drinking. And I started hiding, running, or like not hiding, but like sneaking out, going with people I shouldn't have, got with the wrong group of friends. I mean, I don't want to say the wrong group. It was just, you know, I lived in a small town. There was the group that didn't drink, and there was the group that did drink. And I wasn't the kid, like some of the girls I hung out with would sneak alcohol into class. I didn't do that, but I mean, I started putting myself in some sketchy situations, and I just, I don't know, I think it just was a validation for me. And over this last week, I just realized that I started drinking at a young age, and there was a lot in my life that I never properly coped with.
Yeah.
You know, early childhood trauma that, you know, we don't realize that we have until later in life.
Yeah.
And I just started masking, and I never learned how to cope. I just always turned to the bottle, and it never made my life any better. I turned to people that I shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a consistent thing. I just was constantly drinking my life away. And then I was put on academic probation in college. It was a hot mess. It's a really hot mess. You know, I get comments on my channel about, well, you have no idea like what a true alcoholic is. I guess I've never really said that I was a full-blown alcoholic. I had a problem with alcohol. And I think that you don't need to be on your deathbed. You don't need to have you don't need to be in liver failure. You don't need to have Deweys, go to jail. Like, you don't need to have some explosive story to have a problem with alcohol.
I agree.
I've let alcohol destroy so many relationships. Currently, my marriage is in turmoil from something that happened while I was drinking that was never faced.
Mm-hmm.
So when people say that you have no idea what you're talking about, it's like, I have destroyed so much. I was not the person I am now. I've grown. But you know what? You have to face those demons one day.
Right.
And through all of this that I've been going through right now, I realized that I turned to alcohol for validation.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me validate who I was, or at least try. And then it helped me feel good enough, made me feel included. I mean, it was just, I never learned how to cope with anything without alcohol. So going through all these emotions without turning to alcohol, it's brutal. Because you realize how much you let alcohol affect your life.
And then I was going to ask you, I know you've interviewed so many people. I was just interested to know, do you know chemically how alcohol affects us? Like, can you kind of share maybe some things you've learned through this process about how it affects us chemically?
So I was diagnosed with, I'm definitely not the most educated in this area. But for me personally, I have ADHD, and I was trying to calm myself with alcohol, and then never realizing what I was doing, and it was still affecting my ADHD. And then I quit drinking, and I was like, alcohol was used, and a lot of people I've talked to that have ADHD, they turn to alcohol also. I think there's something in our brain chemistry that just, some of us can handle alcohol and some of us cannot. And I was one that my body, chemistry and alcohol just never mixed well at all.
What's an example of how bad the drinking got? Do you have any examples of some things that happened while you were drinking, or what resulted from drinking?
Well, I was an angry drunk. So and it was more so with my boyfriends and my boyfriends from the past and my husband. They would see the angry part of me. I would lash out. I started drinking. So this is all new to my audience, I think, if they watch this. We moved to Idaho in 2019, and I think at that moment, I left everything that I knew back in Oregon. My family, my friends of 32 years. And the day that my mom left from helping us move, I got blacked out. And I think from that moment, my drinking spiraled.
Yeah.
So in 2019, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then I got a job at a bar, and I was drinking with people I shouldn't have drank with. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. I would find a way to start drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning and try to hide it. My drinking was by far a lot worse. I would find buzz balls. I would do whiskey, beer, wine. I mean, I would try to hide how much I was actually drinking. And looking back, like, I had a major problem with alcohol, like more than I've ever probably admitted. But with things surfacing and people coming at me, trying to ruin my life now, it's like, you know what? That was who I was. It doesn't necessarily mean I am that person now. Like, I could start drinking as soon as I got done personal training up until I went to sleep. Like, it was, well, it's a buzz ball, it's coffee, like, or it's an Irish coffee. I mean, you know, all the excuses. It's just champagne. It's, you know, and, oh, it's only beer. Well, I'm not as bad as this person or that person, but I mean, I'm just as bad. I didn't have like a physical dependency on it. Like, I didn't wake up in the mornings and need it, but I mean, I was heading that route.
Yeah.
I was definitely heading to the other side. I mean, it's very defeating to know how bad alcohol actually, what it's done to my life. I had an incident in 2022. Then I put myself in situations many times throughout my past, and those I will take fault for. However, I was in a situation where I was looking up to somebody, mentoring. I wanted to mentor them. I wanted to learn from them. Thought I could trust them. And the whole entire time, like, the counselors will say I was groomed. I never knew that terminology, but this person knew what I liked to drink, knew, like, would always take us to dinners and happy hours and serve us alcohol. And it all makes sense now, because when I was invited to this person's house, this is where the office was, what my favorite beverage of choice was there. Like, you don't drink that. He didn't drink that. You know, a very older person, you know, somebody that and I feel like I always have to justify myself. Like, it was somebody that I would never be attracted to. I went home that day before I went over there. I changed my clothes. I put jeans and a blouse on. And, you know, I remember sitting down at the table drinking and going over things. But then I remember waking up in the bed without my clothes on, and his daughters came and got me. It was a whole thing. I was terrified to tell my husband. The detectives were called. It was a very traumatic experience in my life, because for some reason, as many times as I put myself in these stupid situations, this one was different than all the other ones. It was humiliating. I felt so much shame. I lost the gym family that I was working at. I just disappeared off the face of the earth. Nobody asked where I was. I went down and I had a physical, like, the sheriff's department came over here, interviewed. I mean, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I can talk about it without crying, and sometimes I can't. So it's like, you know, one of those things where it's an up and down battle. I constantly have to live with that and still always blame myself for it. And I think alcohol is like when alcohol's involved, the perpetrator is always protected and the victim is always shamed. And too many times have I put myself in these situations. But I just talked to my therapist yesterday, and I said, you know, I may have put myself in some situations. Sometimes people wouldn't touch me, and sometimes it did go too far, but this one was different.
Yeah.
There was a report. I mean, it was a disgusting. I have been through EMDR, like trauma therapy. The state paid for my counseling to, you know, help with any resources. I lost a part of myself. I had major social anxiety. I couldn't go on that side of town. I was on so many anxiety meds for panic attacks to just get through the day. I told myself I wasn't going to drink after that. That lasted a week. So shortly after that, it really affected my husband. He was supportive, but at the same time, he was a husband and very irate with the whole situation. And he started drinking more, and it led to an accident in my backfield, and my dad got hurt. He had staples in his hand, or his head. He degloved his hand, and it was such a messy situation. And I want to say that would be my rock bottom, but with everything that just keeps popping up in my head, I've had so many rock bottoms. I should have quit drinking after so many situations that I have been in, and I never quit drinking. It was who I was. It was how I got through the day. I needed the validation. I was missing part of me. Right now, I'm trying to get over the fact that I was a disgusting human when I was drinking. And, all the shame that comes with tearing apart so much of me, so much of my family, so much between me and my husband. I mean, gosh, that guy has put up with a lot. And there's been many years that he's asked me to quit drinking. Our relationship was founded on alcohol.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything else. If there was an issue with anything, it was always turned to the bottle. And we never encouraged each other to quit drinking. We could quit drinking for like a week or two, but that was the max. Sorry about my voice. It like keeps cracking.
No, you're good.
I don't know, that was a very traumatic experience for me, and I still have to really relive that situation. And then there's some situations that I tried to just bury because I never want there's just so many pieces that I wish I could just erase from my head. But like I told my therapist yesterday, I said, I wish some of these events I could just put in the ground and grenade. I don't want to relive them. I don't want to rehash them. Made me feel so disgusting about who I was. And I was blacked out in so many of these situations that maybe I was at fault for, building up to those situations. But at the same time, I don't remember them.
Yeah.
And, that makes me feel disgusted. And then I feel like the people that were involved should feel disgusted as well. But being a married woman, I'm at fault.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what about the other people? Are they not at fault? It's just the married person that is always, shamed. Alcohol is the devil. The devil got into my life, has destroyed my marriage. We started going to church pretty consistently when we quit drinking. So many good things have happened since we quit drinking. Having to pray every single day to heal and, help work through all these experiences that we have gone and are currently going through. It takes time. And,
right.
Seriously praying like 20 times a day right now. It's just one of those things like you mentioned earlier that about the devil. And my husband said the same thing. Give the devil a crack and he will just destroy. And that is exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it's not, God doesn't want our fun to be taken away. It's not about not being able to relax or not being able to have fun. It's about someone will come after you. You won't be as alert. You're not going to be on your game to be able to fight against things. So you had mentioned blackout. So the difference between being blackout drunk and passing out is if you're blacked out, other people can still interact with you, but is it like a certain part of your brain is shut down so you're not really aware of what's going on?
I was both. I would drink to pass out, or I would black out and then blackout pass out. There were so many things, and I would black out and then come out of it and then realize what's happening and be like, oh my gosh, what just happened? There were moments that I would pass out at tables. I would pass out at concerts. I got kicked out of concerts. I got kicked out of bars because I was wasted. I would pass out in booths. It was so bad, but those blackouts started getting more frequent. And I don't know if it was just my brain started just shutting down to alcohol. I don't know all the science behind it, but I started thinking about this. Gosh. And so I quit drinking July 10th, or my last drink was July 9th, 2023. So I started thinking about this probably a year or two before I quit drinking and realizing how much I was blacking out, what chaos I was causing. And it kind of started scaring me. Why am I blacking out so much? What is wrong? But then, I quit drinking and I realized how much it actually affects the brain. And I never realized how bad alcohol was for us. The more I stay sober, the stronger I get to stay away from alcohol, and the more I learn how detrimental alcohol is to us. Yeah. And it affects, this is going to sound silly, but I was never scared of my liver. I never thought of my liver. I was scared of my brain. When I realized what I was actually drinking, ethanol and asbestos and formaldehyde and all all the things. I'm like, I'm literally, yes, I know the ratio between gas in our cars and drinking alcohol is different, but there's YouTube videos of people putting alcohol in their cars and running on it.
Oh my gosh.
And so that moment that I realized how poisonous it was and what it was shrinking my brain. I was like, so this whole entire time I've been blaming it on mom brain. No,
But yeah.
it was the alcohol destroying my brain.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I mean, it made me do things that I would never do had I been sober.
Yeah.
And
And
I
I
can
know a
like,
lot of people can relate to that.
yeah. I mean, I can apologize and apologize and apologize. I can uproot my family. I can blast out everything that I've done. I can call out people also for partaking with me in these situations because as of right now, I'm the only one that is the bad person in the situation that I caused like almost 4 years ago. These people came out of nowhere and decided to attack me, blow up my social media, and tell something that I should have told myself. I get that. But some of these things, I was so blacked out and so far drunk that I never wanted to relive these moments and have to live. I've had to live with that shame and that guilt for so long. But now it's almost a weight off my shoulder that it's known now. But for those that watch my videos and know my past, I have a past.
Right.
I don't need to broadcast to the whole entire world everything because that hurts my family members and my husband as well. So I think, some things are for more of a private matter. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree. And if somebody's judging you for something you've done or are doing, like they can be guilty of the same thing. So it just makes people feel better about themselves to be, putting the aim on somebody else because then they think better about themselves. But if any of us judge somebody else for what they're going through, we can soon realize we go through the same things. Like we have the same temptations. We've done the same type of things, maybe in a different way. Like we're all imperfect. Like we're all going to mess up, and to blame somebody for their journey is just, it doesn't make sense because at some point it's going to turn back on you and you're going to have to look at yourself, like, what you're doing. So you had said, so you have 2 kids. Did you notice how your drinking was affecting your kids? Like you said how it affected your husband. Did you notice how your kids were responding to you when you would drink? Or was it like, you don't really remember?
all of the above. There was nights that I would have no patience with them. I'd be quick to anger, quick to yelling. My husband would be the one to do all the bedtime routines because I'd be outside drunk. One of my kids noticed me stumbling through the hallway one day, and then my other kid was so annoyed with me dancing and drinking with my friend in the kitchen. And I mean, there's just so many stories like that, how ridiculous I was in front of them. I was not present. I was not involved. Since I quit drinking, I've been a volleyball coach. My kids are in sports now, starting horse riding lessons for my daughter. I mean, we go on more little adventures. We take them on date nights because now it's not all about alcohol. I was so selfish when I was drinking. I didn't care about anybody else but myself. And luckily my kids are young enough to rebuild with them and be the best mom that I possibly can be for them. But I have so much guilt for what I missed out on. My daughter, I didn't drink a drop of alcohol with during her pregnancy. She was 6 weeks early. I survived that whole entire time being sober. I got home 3 days after she came home from the NICU. She was in the NICU for 16 days. So she came home April 15th, and April 18th, my cat died.
Oh.
I went through all this trauma with my first child, scared to death, didn't drink a drop of alcohol. My cat died and I got wasted. So
Yeah.
I went 7.5 months sober. And it took me that one incident to drink and go right back to where I was before I got pregnant. And then my son, I would have the minimum amount of red wine that I was allowed.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. I did everything by the book with my first pregnancy and then my second pregnancy. I mean, he came out healthy, he's fine, he's thriving, he's amazing. I would drink wine every night. And then when he was born, I mean, once I started drinking again after my daughter was born on that day, April 18th, I would learn to do my feeding schedules around my drinking schedule.
Okay.
I mean, you have a problem.
You're not the only mom that does that.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, my son was probably 7 months old when we moved to Idaho. So I was drunk a lot before we moved and then after we moved, and for probably the first 5 years of his life.
Yeah. And okay, let's talk about what I've heard some of your story about what initially had you stop drinking. And I think it's so cool because I think maybe it was almost like unintentional. I mean, you know better, obviously, you went through it, but listening to it, it seemed kind of like you didn't even mean to stop drinking. It just kind of like the path went that way. And I think that's so cool. So can you explain what it was that initially had you stop drinking?
Yes. So for years, my husband tried getting me to do 75 hard. And for those of you that don't know what 75 hard is, Andy Frisella, episode 208, will give you all the details. So it's pretty much a mental toughness challenge, but it comes with physical benefits as well. But a group of us decided to do it. And our start date was July 10th, 2023. So I had a few weeks to like prepare myself.
Okay.
Going into it, everybody was like, you're going to fail because you're not going to be able to stop drinking. That right there is like, I'm not going to be the first one to fail. Are you kidding me? I'm the personal trainer. I'm the one that works out. I'm the one that eats healthy. I'm the one, So I took that. I mean, it was tough for the first several weeks when I quit, or when we started 75 Hard. I went camping the first few weeks and would sit there and just be like, I can drink. Why can't I drink? I can fail this. And then I was like, I can't fail this. I'm not going to be the one to fail. So about halfway through, give or take, something came over me. I don't know if it was God or what, but something hit me, a switch, and I said, I never want to drink again. I took the majority of the bottles, all of the hard liquor, dumped it down the drain, sent one of my friends a picture, and to this day I wish I would have actually recorded what I did because, I mean, at that time I hadn't done a quit drinking video or anything, but I was working on my fitness channel and I was doing 75 hard workouts for my channel.
Okay.
Just kind of like trying to keep me going. But yeah, halfway through, I decided I was done. At that moment, I realized how much alcohol was actually affecting my life. And I did not want to partake in it anymore. Being clear-headed for the first time in 21-ish years, from like what, age 16 to 35, 36-ish. I'm 38 now. So I think whatever age I was when I quit drinking. So 20 to 23 years of drinking, I was clear-headed and I realized how much I was missing out because I was actually forced to engage with my kids, go do activities, do all the things. And I realized how much I had been missing out on because of alcohol. So I think it was day 50. I did a video of what made me quit drinking. And that is the video that made me realize that I'm in the space that I need to be. And quitting drinking is what my life needs to be. I mean, alcohol serves no purpose.
Yeah, I love that. And then...
But I did wake up hungover. I mean...
Did you, like you said, you weren't physically dependent on alcohol, but did you go through other withdrawals from it?
It's really hard because I really feel like I had an unfair advantage to answer a lot of these questions when it comes to early sobriety because I was so focused on just completing my daily tasks. I was tired, but I don't know if that was from the 2 workouts a day and getting rid of sugar as well as alcohol. I was agitated. I don't know if that was because I was not drinking or, I mean, all like those emotions, like the irritation, the fatigue, but I didn't have like shaking withdrawals.
That's good.
I didn't have those. But I did have, some of the psychological pieces to it. Like it was hard to find new habits, but that's when I started saying, put it in a fancy glass.
Yeah.
So
that works.
Sparkling water in a fancy glass saved my life.
That's awesome. And then, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that's kind of what I meant to go towards. So there's new ways like to address the habit, like because at the end of the day you want a glass of wine, or maybe it's at 4 p.m. that desire starts for people to want to start mellowing down. You had mentioned on one of your videos you like the recess drinks, which is, I don't know exactly what's in there. I've tried one before, but it just kind of relaxes you through has natural ingredients.
Yeah.
So then you would put that in a wine glass, maybe with some sparkling water, and then just the ritual of having something that you're drinking and relaxing to, that helps a lot.
It does.
And that was kind of my journey going down, researching what is like having a glass of wine, but it's not a glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now, I don't know if you've noticed it, but it seems like to me there's so many alcohol alternatives now, whether it be like CBD or kava, which I tried kava and it didn't really do anything for me. But I know some people can have kava drinks and just feel so relaxed and have that instead of alcohol. But I feel like right now, there's so many more options than there used to be able to substitute alcohol with. And I think that's so awesome. There's so many alternatives now, but sometimes the alternative can start to become a problem. For example, I found some gummies that had like some magnesium and some different ingredients in them, like starts with a T. I can't even say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would take those gummies and then that would be my way to kind of relax. But then it started turning into, I need to have these in my purse because if I'm out and about and I'm having a rough day and I need to just mellow a little bit, I can take the gummy. And I don't think it's become a problem, but it's like, how do you moderate, if that's even the word, how to do moderation in life in general? Because, when you stop drinking, it's good to substitute with something so that habit, like you can physically still have something. What's your advice to people on how to be moderate in like whatever they're substituting?
I started L-theanine actually when my therapist realized that I had a drinking problem and like, why do you drink? And I said, because I need to calm myself. Like I literally need to calm myself. So he recommended the L-theanine. So I started actually slowly weaning off of alcohol a little bit more and more before I started 75 Hard. And I relied on that for quite a while. I think that whatever gets you through early sobriety until you are ready to just be okay, I think you just have to do what you have to do to stay sober. I just realized probably a few months ago that I've stopped drinking seltzer waters like I used to. So in the very beginning, we would go through cases and cases of seltzer water. And I was trying to find all the supplements to help calm me. And it was just like trying to find this and that and this and that. And just one day I realized I'm not relying on all these things like I was. But whatever can get you through those early days of sobriety, those events. The early sobriety days of holidays, birthdays, any event, concerts, for most of us, it was having a blanket in our hand.
Right.
So if that's just water, lemonade, soda water, iced tea, have it. Just reach for whatever is going to help you through those moments without it being alcohol.
Yeah, that's good advice.
I don't like the moderation. The moderation part is really hard because I've had a lot of feedback on this question actually. Well, you're just turning to a different alternative. That alternative is better than alcohol.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What is seltzer water gonna do to me?
Yeah, no kidding.
Coffee is a lot healthier for me than alcohol. It doesn't make me make stupid decisions and embarrass myself and have shameful experiences.
Yeah.
I actually sell coffee now because coffee helped me through those early days of sobriety. And a lot of people say one addiction for another addiction. I like the taste of coffee, and it helped me in so many ways to get through those early days of sobriety. I am now down to 1 cup of coffee a day. I was 7 cups, but now I'm like 1 cup.
Yeah, I agree.
I just want to bring up something that somebody commented today because I think that it is very helpful. Somebody commented on my recent video, said, compulsive shopping paired with compulsive drinking is a perfect storm. Also, compulsive eating, compulsive nail biting, compulsive sexual behavior, compulsive decision making, compulsive skin picking, compulsive hair pulling, it's all connected. Anyone who struggles with compulsive behavior of any kind should stay far away from alcohol. And I feel like I have so many compulsive tendencies that, like I say, the more I stay sober, or the longer I am sober, the more I realized all these things that like affected me.
Yeah, there's a lot of aha moments about things. Yeah, because lately what I'm working on is discipline. I'm not naturally a person that has good discipline. Like growing up, my dad is the most disciplined person that I know. He is just naturally, that's what he wants to do. It's how he operates. And for me, I have never been disciplined, but I'm kind of seeing what problem that makes in my life because I'm not disciplined. Like I view discipline like if the dogs were just barking. So I go and I just grab a treat and I like throw the treat outside without trying to discipline the dog because I would view discipline as kind of abusive, but discipline is actually not abusive. It's if you do it in the correct way, it's more correcting and guiding. So that's, I think, so saying that, like not having discipline, I think it did make me more susceptible to smoking, drinking, drugs, wanting to be free in these ways. So I do think there can be like a certain trait that we have, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, that makes it easier to not have discipline or moderation with something, but to like just keep taking it forward. The main factor, what do you think was the main factor in helping you to initially quit drinking? Like was it your willpower? Was it upset at people because you don't think I can? Yes, I can. Was it an act of God?
I think it was an act of God for sure. One of Andy, obviously I'm not paid by Andy Frisella to talk about him, but he has helped me a lot through his podcast. One of his episodes, I can't remember exactly which number, but he talks about this black energy. And I listened to it. We went on a 2-hour drive east while we were doing 75 Hard. And I was like, holy crap. That black energy is also what keeps me going. When people don't believe in you, and it's the effort theory, like, what, screw you, I've got this, and I'm going to keep proving you wrong. I mean, I've always been naturally disciplined, except when it came to alcohol.
Okay.
I think I'm disciplined with diet, exercise, water, trying to go to bed at, a decent time. But when it came to alcohol, I had no discipline. So there was no moderating it. We weren't at a good place in, like, we weren't going to church much before we quit drinking, and it put us back into church.
Yeah.
And so I really feel like that really helped. And like right now, like the devil is staring at us, but it's not going to pull me back to alcohol because I know that God has a different plan for me. And maybe this all was supposed to explode for a reason, but with my discipline, and I feel like willpower runs out, like motivation runs out.
Yeah.
But you have to be disciplined in everything. I mean, like praying and just discipline is a huge thing.
It is.
Yeah, that willpower is going to run out. What's going to happen when that willpower runs out? You're going to turn it to the bottle. What happens when you look at that motivating picture, like bod goals? What happens when that motivation runs out? Where's your discipline going to be? I think, there's so many factors that go into staying sober.
Yeah. And then, so now you coach people that want to stop drinking? And do you walk them through like the whole process? Like they're drinking now and you start working with them and then walk them through the process of quitting and then withdrawals, and like how does that work?
I haven't had any like serious cases. I had somebody attack me and tell me I shouldn't be a sober coach, I should be a 75 Hard coach. But what people don't know about me is I have a laundry list of things that I can relate to a lot of people. It is not publicly, it's not for the public, it's for those that I coach, because that helps me relate to them. And I'm like, okay, in this situation, this is what I did. Or in that situation, this is what helped me. And so, like, we go through, what their relationship is with alcohol and what they want. I mean, just I get a feel for them. We create a relationship and then we build on that. And some people have family issues that keep them drinking, and I can relate to them on that. People have relationship issues, I can relate to them on that. People have past traumas, I can relate to them on that. People, most everybody that I talk to, there is a very relatable piece. And I tell all the people that I coach that I have been through this myself and I can help you get through it. I give them tools. We work through questions, books, exercises, all the things. And, maybe I'm a good fit for one person, but not the other. And that's why there's so many of us out there. not everybody is going to be the best fit, and that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I have some people that aren't certified that I've interviewed, and they charge an outrageous amount of money. And then I feel like I'm more on the lower side, and those people that charge a lot are like, no, you need to charge more. To me, I want to be fair to everybody that needs help and be able to help them. I did that with personal training too. I would do my best to accommodate them, also because my time is worth something as well. And I feel like putting all my content out there, it's all free. I do have a private community where we meet weekly and everybody gets to tell their story, and it's private because I've asked them in many videos or lives that we do together, like, would you be willing to come on and talk to me if this was a public platform? And they're like, no. So I have a private community where go through how everybody's doing. Sometimes it's strictly just coaching and motivation and tools. Sometimes it's just BSing. And then just like my coaching, I do a discovery call to see if I can help. I do have one person right now who is probably going to be a really hard struggle for me because I've never dealt with somebody that is so dependent yet, but it's all a work in progress. And with all the tools and resources out there, if I can help them in any way, shape, or form, like, that is what I want to do. And I view coaching as like personal training. I loved personal training. I loved helping people. I loved getting them their results. But one day a week with me, when you have a long ways to go, is not going to help you.
Right.
Because so many people that I trained would be like, I'll just buy one session a week and then I'll come in here by myself.
Right.
They never did. They never did. Rarely. Like, probably 10% of the people I trained. Just like coaching, if you really want the help, you're going to want consistency with your help, because, you know, your time and money is worth something as well as like my time. And so I recommend people, there's so many resources out there. There's so many there's so many Facebook groups, Instagram groups, online communities, AA. There's what's the Celebrate Recovery. That one's not talked about a lot. And I did a podcast.
That's a good one. I've done that one.
I don't want to say I had no idea, but I've had only one person on my podcast talk about Celebrate Recovery. And I feel like those that don't like AA but don't want to do the online, I think Celebrate Recovery would be a really good avenue for them. I don't know a lot about it. One's right down the road from me, but I never went to AA. I never went to any of those groups because I strictly had 75 Hard was my lifesaver. And, you know, going back to church and just getting more involved with my family.
So then who would you say were the people, like, as you're going through this process, that were supporting you? Was it your friends that were doing 75 Hard with you, or was it a different community? Or do you feel like you kind of went through it more alone than some other people have?
Honestly, my YouTube community, when I put that first video out there, that also helped keep me sober. I would have dreams that I failed, and that was thousands of people watching me at the time. And I think I've hit almost 1.5 million views now. But
awesome.
It's almost, I'm not only failing myself, I'm failing a world of people, and that has helped keep me accountable. And some of us need strict accountability, and that doing what I'm doing, whether my story not be as big as some other people's, I'm here to keep letting people share their stories, and it helps keep me going. So what was the question?
No, I like that, because with you, what I love about your journey is it isn't like rock bottom, like there was rock bottom moments, but it wasn't how people say you have to hit rock bottom before they're going to stop drinking. They need to hit rock bottom. Well, that's not true. Like, just not true at all. So, and then people almost would say to themselves, well, I can keep drinking because I haven't hit rock bottom yet. So I don't have a reason to stop. You know, they could use that as an excuse, but you're just a testimony to, no, you don't have to hit rock bottom. It can organically happen in your life, and you can continue down that road. Like, so I think that's awesome.
I mean, have I avoided DUIs? Sure. I definitely have avoided DUIs. I've crashed my car, never got caught. I mean, the people and places and things that I did when I was drunk, I mean, I had a guardian angel. Like, I mean, There's so many things. I was really reckless. And I think being reckless is definitely a drinking problem. And so I have no flashing lights, but I could have had flashing lights.
Yeah. Is there anything that you do now instead of drinking that gives you like that same like adrenaline? I don't know if that's the right word, but that like excites you. Is there something that you do that's exciting and enjoyable for you?
Well, for the first year and a half, it was probably trying all the new seltzers and making mocktails. I think what gives me joy is just really connecting with my community and helping people. I look forward to posting my daily posts. I enjoy reading the happy comments. The mean ones are not fun, but I mean, you're gonna get haters.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just like there's so much more joy in life. Like I can go get my kids. I can go somewhere at 7:00 at night with my kids and drive. I went to dinner with my daughter, just the two of us. I mean, I would have never done that if I was drinking because I would have had somebody had to drive me.
Yeah.
I can now, my son busted his eye open. He had some stitches. I mean, had I been drinking, could have been way worse. Couldn't have, he did bust one of his eyes open, and we drove before we quit drinking. We drove. I don't think my husband was really drinking at the time, but if it was just me home, I would have been drinking and driving with my child to get him to urgent care to get 20-something stitches. I mean, it's just all those things that now you look back and you're like, okay, there's so much more joy in life because I'm here, I'm present, and I'm clear-headed.
Yeah, I love that. So what is some advice that you would give to somebody who's watching this or listening to this and they're thinking they want to quit drinking? Like, what is the first piece of advice you would give them?
The first piece of advice is being honest, open, and willing.
Okay.
You need to be honest with how much you're drinking, open to help, and willing to work through it. I love that acronym. I learned that last summer, and I absolutely love it. The how is because a lot of us, I don't think, are honest with how much we're drinking. And we're definitely not open and willing. I highly suggest reading personal development. I didn't read Quit Lit when I first quit drinking, and I just probably late summer started reading Quit Lit. My first one was Codependent No More, and that really,
oh my gosh, yeah,
really
that
spoke to me.
Codependency is huge.
It's especially when it comes to drinking. I mean, we don't realize how codependent we are. And then, so reading that book, I told my therapist, I said, she's writing a book about my life. I mean, down to the bleach bottle decision. I just was mind blown. So I think personal development, any kind of personal development. Yeah, I am listening to the Quit Lit books now, but it's for educational purposes so I can help other people. I think listening to those motivational podcasts, listening to the nitty gritty podcasts, like Andy Frisella will tell you straight up that you suck.
Yeah.
I think people need to hear that.
Yeah.
And, he's very brutal, but it's honesty. And honesty is what we need to live on. Have we been honest while we were drinking? No. I mean, I've lied.
Yeah.
I've been very untruthful. I think finding new hobbies, getting outdoors, walking was a huge one for me. And all the books that I read now on Quit Lit are all yoga, walking, like reading, meditation. I'm terrible at meditation. I don't really know the first thing about it, and I don't do yoga, but walking and working out, feeding your soul. I mean, go to church. I mean, I know everybody has a different higher power, but most people that are successful find God. And so many people on my podcast share their testimonies, and it is a Christian faith. I mean, obviously not, just believing in God, but a lot of them started going to church again and praying. And I think praying is a huge deal.
Yeah, and I think that our dependency ultimately is on Him, and that's what faith is. Like, I know that I'm gonna mess up. I know that I don't got this. I'm dependent on you, for my salvation, because I know I can't do enough good works to earn anybody's forgiveness. So I'm dependent on you for that. I'm dependent on you for waking up every day. Like, I'm dependent on you when I get anxious before doing an interview. Like today, I get anxious. Every interview I do, I get anxious. But it's just, that's the normal process. So then I just say, God, help me with this interview. And He does. And so it's like, it's okay to be addicted to Him, and it's okay to be dependent on Him. because like you said, like if you have to pray constantly during the day, that's okay. That's what he wants us to do anyways. He doesn't want us to stop talking to him throughout the day. Like just keep the conversation going, you know? And I love that. So then thank you for sharing your story, and I'm glad I met you. Like I love your videos. I love your advice and your perspective. Where can people find you? Like what's the best place to get connected?
My YouTube channel, Soberstrong, or my
Okay.
website, thesoberstrong.com.
Okay.
And you won't be finding me on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok
Okay.
much anymore.
Okay.
But YouTube
Oh no.
and my
Okay.
website.
I found you on Instagram actually.
Yeah. But that's gonna be going away soon. So YouTube
Okay. So
and
mainly
my website.
YouTube. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And then I can, in the comments, put your website too. I'll get that from you before we end today, and then I can link that too, so people can find you that way as well. But thank you so much, Megan, for sharing your story, and I'm definitely encouraged. I love your discipline, your faith, like you're very motivating, so I just know you're on the right path. Like God is leading you to new places and giving you more territory, and you don't have to compare your journey with anybody else because it's unique, and the people that you're helping are unique, and it's just I'm blown away by it. I think what you're doing is amazing and I love it. So thank you so much for sharing your heart today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'll have to have you on this month too.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.